Welcome back to the ARTFUL Podcast, guys. It's Matteo here. A real quick intro for this special episode. This is not going to be an interview with an artist or me talking about art. It's a really special project, which it's personal. It's a series of interview that I'm going to do to immigrants. It's a personal project which I'm going to develop some drawings out of this interview. And yeah, it's really special for me. And I was really interesting to share these stories with you and make it public. And so everybody knows what every single person that is going through this journey has to say. And I'm not looking for the tragic and melodramatic story. It's literally everyday single person story. It's as simply as that. But it's really important for me to make for everybody to see what a person that goes through the immigrant journey and how they deal with the adversity and how they deal with problems and how they deal with like everyday life. For me, it was really important for me to share. So please enjoy the episode. And this is an interview with an immigrant. So Francesca, how do we start this? So you were part of this project that I'm doing about immigrants, and I just want to tell their story, and that's why we just having like a little chat of your experience as an immigrant, as what it was for you to leave your country and do what you do now. So let's start from the beginning. So when did you left? So you're from Italy, obviously.
Yeah.
We know each other. And what age did you leave, and how do you come with the decision to leave the country?
So I think this my start, we need to defer what I did at the beginning when I left for the first time Italy, which is when I went to London and I was studying there. And then the second phase or the second trip when I actually decided that I didn't want to live in Italy anymore after I was in England for a while, which is when then I moved to Germany. It was two completely different experiences. So the first experience was, in London. Yeah. And I was studying there, so I was way younger. And, I was just, it just opened up my mind a lot. You're 21 and you live in your country. It's the first time abroad. I never left Italy before. So I wasn't used to, hang out with people that come from all over the place or, live in an environment which is way more multicultural, because, of course, coming from a small town in Italy, there's not so many culture that you can encounter in your everyday life, so it's just like completely different experience, completely different world. And that didn't come so much as a shock, but of course, it was hard at the beginning because, the main difficulty, I guess, was the language barrier. And for as much as I would speak English because I was studying it at university, being transported in that world meant that I had to really start communicating. And that was, I guess, the biggest fear that I had, the fact of not being understood or, trying to make myself understood. I think that's a really, really big challenge. It was way more challenging though when I moved to Berlin. So after I went back to Italy after my year of Erasmus, and then I got my degree, and then I decided that the dimension of the small town wouldn't fit me anymore. That was not for me. After I saw London, I was like, I need to see much more.
How small we talking? Like, where are you from again? I remember.
So this place, it's not actually that tiny. It's about 35,000 citizens. So it's not very small. but it feels like super tiny because there's a main center. So the city is between Rome and Naples by the coast. Super pretty place. Medieval castle, like super pretty. But you know, the city center is quite tiny, so you feel
Yeah.
like you know everybody, especially from your, from your age, because everybody goes to the same school and stuff like that. So you
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
end up knowing a lot of people. So it feels way smaller than it actually is. And also, I think the mentality is a little bit of, you know, um, yeah, like a small Italian town.
Yeah, I
Because
completely understand. Yeah.
that as well. I guess you have the same sort of
Yeah.
background or experience with the place where you come from. So
Yeah.
I think
It's
that was starting to get really tired.
question. Were you
Yeah.
happy to leave? Or it was more like a consequence of, okay, I don't fit here. Like, let me try somewhere else. But or were you like
Um,
like you were always going
definitely,
to
definitely.
your else?
Yeah, it was always like, I think, you know, since I started when I started university, I thought like the only thing I could do was something related to humanistic sort of um, subjects and stuff like that. So,
Mm.
and languages is something that's always been on my
Yeah.
mind. I was also really good at it, and I think I've always felt this need of kind of getting out that dimension I was living in, because yeah, as you said, I wasn't really feeling like I fit in that context, you know.
Mm.
So once I left and I realized that there's actually much more that's closer to my I don't know, to my way of being, you know, like to my attitude
Yeah.
and stuff like that. When I realized that, then it just took me like a second to decide, you know. I was like, as soon as I left Italy to go to England, I was like, I never want to go back to Italy again, at least for now. I mean, not forever in my life.
Yeah.
Saying that.
Yeah.
At that moment when I was 21, I was like, I cannot see myself living here. I need to go somewhere else. And Berlin was a little bit of a chance. It was very random. It wasn't planned. I
Yeah.
was planning on going back to the UK, but I just didn't have enough money at the time. So
Mm.
I ended up in Berlin, and I didn't know what Berlin was. I didn't know, you know. And at the time, and I'm talking about 8 years ago, so it's been a while. It's almost
Yeah.
10 years. It's quite a long time. The city was very different as well. Like, it's not the city that you see now. And I don't know how long you've been in Berlin for.
Almost
How
a
long you've
year.
been in Berlin? Almost a year. So yeah, you don't have the experience of like seeing the city change so much. And for me, it's been it's been a place that nonetheless has welcomed me with quite a lot of warmth, and I've been very lucky, and I've met a lot of people that helped me throughout the process of getting
Yeah.
integrated here. Um, Germany is not England, and the language barrier is like way more difficult, you know. So it took me way longer to start to adapt to this sort of context. But after 8 years, I can tell you that I feel like home. I feel like this is my home. You know, I couldn't see myself
Yeah.
anywhere else in the world but here, at least for now. You know, I feel
What
like a
happened?
home.
Because 8 years are exactly how many years I lived in England. I'm in Bristol,
Yeah.
and after 8 years, I was starting feeling like I love Bristol. I love what I did, and I love the city. That's why
You
I
know,
like.
the
I
streets, you know, the places,
I
and
always
you
want
know,
to
the
go
people.
back, and I was going to go back. But at the same time, I was like, okay, I'm done here. Like, it's not being done like in a bad way. Like, I'm just like, okay, I don't see myself grow more than this because it's
Yeah.
been 8 years. I was just getting into the routine. I just wanted to change. That's why I was looking everywhere to do something, and then I found this opportunity to come to Germany,
Mhm.
which I've never planned to do. But yeah, I'm happy with the decision right now. So I'm happy to be in Berlin, but I was done. Like I wanted to change, and I wanted to be in a bigger city for working reason. Obviously, I hate cities, but like you need to be there to do what I especially do. Um, but London was never going to be one of my one of my choice because I never lived in London. I know lots of people they moved from London to Bristol because they were exhausted. They were done. like after months, not even like years, after months, they were like, I can't just working as a waiter, but and live my life for working. Like I can't do that. So I was never gonna go there. But what do you feel like after 8 years in Berlin? Do you feel like it's still like exciting, or it's more like, okay, I'm here now and I'm enjoying it
Yeah,
anyway?
I feel like there's way more many things that I can do, and also because I kind of lived in a bubble up until a couple years ago, and what I mean with that is that I did never really make the effort of learning German.
Okay.
And it took me a while because Berlin, it's so international that most of the time you don't even need to be speaking German, even to get
Yeah.
a job, and that, I think, my opinion, like that puts in a condition of, kind of feeling safe about that and be like, okay, I can still live my
Yeah.
life and I don't have to make the effort, and it's still okay. But when I made this step and I decided that I really wanted to feel integrated, it's just changed completely, like the perception that I have with, like, towards people as well, or the fact that I can now talk to people in German. It makes me feel closer to them, and it makes me feel also that I could be able to do something else if I wanted to do it.
Mm.
I've been working in hospitality for a really long time. It's been like 10 years now. And I love hospitality because of, the contact that I have with people and stuff like that. Starting to get tiring. But now that I speak German, I feel like that if I wanted to do something else, if I wanted to change my career,
There's always yeah.
I
There's
could do
always a
it.
chance. Yeah, yeah.
Because, and that took me quite a long time. I started I mean, I have a degree in linguistics and foreign languages, right? But I never studied German. Or, like, nonetheless, it comes to me pretty easy. Like, languages come to me pretty easy. So, like, it's something that I do also with pleasure. And I don't know why it took me so long. I guess I just got absorbed in the crazy Berlin life.
Yeah.
I don't lost the track a little bit.
Can
But
imagine. Yeah.
now, like, I feel way more integrated, and I feel like, again, if I wanted to do something else, I could do it, because now I acquired the skills that make me feel more comfortable about staying here, and I don't feel it as foreign anymore. It's not like a foreign country anymore,
That's
whereas it
nice.
was before. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
nice. Is so as your first experience was studying outside, right, in England?
Yeah.
Did you work during that time?
I did not. I did
Okay.
not, and then of course that also might have changed the perception that I had about London, because for me it was this fun town with,
Mm.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
There's
I was
everything every day. Like,
Erasmus life. I wasn't working so much. I still felt the, like what you were saying about your friends living in London, that
yeah,
everybody is on a run, and
yeah,
everybody's always, it looks really busy, and it takes you forever to move from one place to another. So that's
yeah.
already,
Ginormous. Yeah,
it's already a lot. Like, if you live in a part of the city, you work on the other side of the city, it takes you 2 hours to get there. It's like a big commute, and you think, like, with that time, I would go to university. I would do it from my town to Rome every day. It was an hour and a half. But, like, can you imagine doing it within the same city? Like, it's frustrating.
yeah.
You know.
I know. I know. It's like I'm still here. Like I could be somewhere else, but I'm still in in the
Exactly.
same city. It took me
Lot.
2 hours to get there. No, no, of
Yeah,
course.
you already spend your whole day
I know.
working.
I can go to Spain in 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
You
for
know,
sure. Did
so
you during your study? I guess like it was quite a safe environment because you were studying. It was university. Everybody was there for, I don't know, experience and learning. So I don't. I feel like you could have like a really great experience as a outsider there. But did you ever add any like bad, I don't know,
any bad experience?
episodes of people being like, you're not from here, like go back, or like what you want, or learn, or some little comments even like, oh, learn English, like, or something like that before you moved.
Yeah, I never really felt like, bad or threatened, or anything like that. Or yeah, I never thought I was making fun of when I was in London. Although, of course, I mean, there might have been a couple jokes at the beginning, because I was living with, actually, I wasn't living with Italian people, which was a blessing
Uh,
because they really pushed me to, like, talk English with other people.
yeah, yeah,
And I have to say that, my flatmates and their friends, they were all super nice. Mostly between like French and English people, and they were all like, they were also immigrant. Like, I mean, like, there were also people that came from France, so there were also people that, they're not English. So um, there's always that kind of almost support between each other,
yeah,
or like,
yeah,
uh, yeah, it might have been like a little joke, but never anything bad. In Germany, though, I did get, you know, looked looked like, people were looking at me like weird, or they were making comments, and somebody's made like also like rude comments about the fact that I wasn't speaking German.
mm.
Mostly older people, I have to say,
Older people,
because
yeah.
older people, yeah, because they kind of expect that. I guess they look at young people coming from abroad as like, yeah, you don't even make the effort to speak
Yeah,
German,
it's
or
always the same. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's old people that they lived a different life, and it's they don't understand that the world changed so much that people now are just moving without, like, in months, and they are obviously they don't have the time to learn every single language when they move.
yeah.
So yeah, it's they're always kind of like, not obviously all of them, but politics wise, they're always leaning more on that kind of side of politics, and they think more like that, and they're like, yeah, they're more conservative, like a conservative more way of thinking. That I had few,
Yeah, a
like,
few experiences.
I had few episodes in England. um I remember I remember this lady. It was so annoying. I remember this lady. I was obviously a waiter. I was working. Family comes. They have like pretty young, like I would say 20, 30 years old daughter, and older parents. So I go there, and it was like, it was not even the beginning of me living there. So I was already speaking English, and it was like I can communicate easily with everybody. Obviously, I might have an accent because
Of course.
I'm not from there, but
Yeah. Be weird if you
so,
didn't.
and I obviously doing waiter, you're not doing like these massive, complex dialogues. Like, you just asking what you want. So I went there to the table. So guys, how are you? Do you want some drinks for you to start? And she literally turned, not even like hiding it. She turned to her husband, and she said, "Oh, it's one of those." And I'm like, I'm right here. Like, I can
Dude,
hear you. It's
what do
like,
you mean?
ha. I was like, damn, woman. Look, god damn it. And I was like,
Transfer.
so it
Transfer.
literally, like, I don't know what God save from, like, me going off and shouting at her. But I know it happens a few times, which I understand. Well, no, I don't understand the doing.
I guess, yeah, I guess it's just,
I'm just happy that, to be honest, thinking about it, I'm just happy that it's always this older generation that they
yeah,
act like that, and it's really interesting to understand. Like, I really wish I could speak to her and be like, who hurt you? Like, what was your experience with, like, immigrants that you hate
yeah,
them, or
yeah,
you feel the need to say something like that, which
yeah,
is, it's bad. Like, if you think about it, if you call me one of those, like,
yeah. What does it even mean? And like,
yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm really curious. I would literally, like, sit down and ask her, and curious about, like, why she speaks like that. And that's something that, yeah, I might do one day. But it's always like this old generation that But even then, it happens few times they were like pretty young and they acting like kind of what she did.
You can't always generalize. It's mostly, mostly might be older people, but it could happen that even younger people do that. I was lucky enough not to ever experience it, to be honest. But it might happen to other people that experience this sort of insults or these things that get said from people that are not necessarily from a previous generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
There's so many factors, I guess. I believe the bigger the city is, the more diversity there is. So maybe the less of these episodes can happen. Like, for example, maybe this episode that happened to you in Bristol, but it might not have happened in London.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. Bristol's still like more than 300,000 people. Like it's 400,000. Yeah, it's not that small of a city, and it's so like literally Bristol is so fun because it's so international. There is so many university there, and they're really like good for university. So there is a lot of young people coming from literally anywhere, and they're pretty liberal as a city. So they're like kind of hippie vibe. Like it's really a liberal city, and everybody is really welcoming. That's why I think I found myself like really well there. But you find those apples in the bunch. Like it's they're always gonna be there. You're always gonna find those people.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, we hope we won't find them.
Yeah, but at the same time, yeah, you find amazing people that literally like don't even care, and they're even curious about where you're from, what you do, and why you moved, and the stories that you can have, and they just listen to you, and the experience that you can share, and they're really happy to have like a diversity in their city. So it's always a mix of things. You said before that you don't know, and you probably think that you're never gonna go back to Italy and live.
Yeah.
Why is that?
No, I don't say like ever again in my life.
Because I just give it like a 2%. I might go back. Like a 98%. I'm not gonna go back to Italy.
No. I might go back, but not now. Maybe when I'm older. When
like a retiring plan.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, to be honest, it's a beautiful country and it's got so much potential, and there's so many. The country itself is amazing.
It's living that's the problem.
Living there, that's the problem. So maybe if I'm older, I'll care less. Because
Maybe.
Now I'm angry, and I'm still, I don't want to live in a country that I feel doesn't represent me. Place that I feel from the sort of mentality. And I'm not saying that there are not good people. There are a lot of good people, very smart and stuff like that. But I feel like the general vibe, the general mentality of Italians doesn't suit mine, doesn't match mine. And I feel way more comfortable in a place like Berlin rather than, even I don't know, Milan probably could be an option if I wanted to move down this sort of age. But Rome is a mess. Naples is a mess. I think like northern Italy is a little bit more closer to the European mentality as well. Although if I had to choose, like of course I would go live in the south by the sea. Who wants to live in anyway?
Yeah. I know.
You want to live by the sea. If you want to live in Italy, you want to live by the sea. At least that's.
What's the point of living in Italy if you're just?
I just feel for now, like for our generation, there's really not so many opportunities, and it's very sad that we leave the country.
It's the most growing number.
So what are we supposed to be doing?
It's the most growing number of like young people leaving the country every year. It grows like every year, and it's a really
country. It's made up with old people. And
Yeah.
all the all the youngsters, they leave because the government doesn't give us the opportunity to grow and doesn't support us. And yeah, although like we're one of the richest countries in Europe, and this is very
Yeah.
where is all the money going? You know, how has
Yeah.
it been invested? Why there's no effort to get younger people to,
To
you know,
build.
come up with fresh ideas. There's like all these politics, they're all so old and they don't want to leave their seats because, you know, because they earn so much money and they don't care, and it's just frustrating, you know. And it's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of to be honest, if I go back to my hometown, I there's no all my friends are they left. I don't have
yeah. Most of my
the
friends
the
left.
friends that I grew up with. I have like a
Yeah,
couple there, but all of them, most of them,
friends.
they left. If it's not my town to stay in Italy to go to a bigger city, they
Yeah,
still like left like completely
yeah.
like Italy.
Same.
Which yeah says a lot. And every time I speak with somebody from Italy that or yeah from Italy especially about this, it's every time the same. They all the friends they leave and they are somewhere else. They are not in Italy anymore and they're living in a country, not a country, which it's a lot of people. If you think about it, it's a lot of young people leaving.
Yeah,
And to be honest, yeah, they find opportunities. I could not. The funny thing, for example, I studied art in England. I should have studied art in Italy. Like
yeah.
it's the like motherland of art. Like I should
Pretty
be doing
much.
what I
Yeah,
do there, but I could never do. I could never had the opportunity to go to university because I didn't have the money. I cannot pay for myself. I got some help from the government in England. So there was a way for me to do it, which I could never had the opportunity in Italy to do that. And it's such a sad thing because
yeah,
it's so annoying for me because I would love to, especially because it's the art that I love, and I would love to be surrounded by this these like old master paintings and church and stuff like that. But no, I could never do that, which is pain in the ass.
yeah. I
But
mean, if
yeah,
you could, of course, why would you leave? If you could live a good life in Italy, I wouldn't want to live. You know, if I had the chance to find a job pretty easily and earn enough money that would get me by, and maybe get support if, you know, if I wanted to go back to studies and stuff like that, why would I leave Italy? You know,
yeah,
I
why
guess.
would I leave the place where I know the language, I know everybody,
Yeah,
I can be there pretty comfortably and
yeah.
have all my life
Work
set up?
for
Like, why would I go through
yeah.
do
So much travel.
all the paperwork
So much travel
to
to
change
live.
a country, all the money that you need to invest to change to go somewhere else, all the
Yeah,
pain that you have to do to like find a job and try to survive somewhere. Like, why would I do that if I was happy where I was? Like, I go just holiday somewhere. Like, I'm not gonna go live
right.
completely in a different country, which I think like it's they don't understand. Like, people they might think like the woman in the restaurant, they just don't understand
How much
like
trouble?
yeah how much somebody can they need to go through to change.
Yeah.
I'm not just in picking a flight and move there and that's
Like
it.
we're
Like,
talking about,
there
we're talking
is
our condition that
yeah.
are pretty privileged as well. So
Mm,
we're privileged. You know, we're still living like our like places that are still somehow comfortable. To go somewhere else and look for something else, there are people that are forced to live
yeah.
like
Yeah.
their homes because they live in conditions that are way worse than we can imagine. Like, you know, that we've ever experienced.
Yeah,
And
one of the girls that
but
did this
yeah,
project. Yeah,
what makes
one
it
of those
even
girls that I
crazier.
did the project with, she was from Syria, and literally like
Yeah,
the whole
no
family
connection.
left because the night before they start bombing their area.
Yeah,
So they woke up during the night with bombs in the
yeah,
streets, and so in the morning they just left, and she ended up in England with her parents. Like,
yeah.
it's so much going through like
I
a
guess it's really, yeah, I guess it's really easy to judge from the other side,
yeah
pointing at her people, saying, "Oh, yeah, he's a foreigner. He doesn't belong here. Without knowing why, like the reason behind it. What is his story? Like,
Mm.
why did I end up there?
But even,
And
yeah, it could be that such a dramatic story, but it even could be the me wanted to explore
yeah, of
your
course. There's
country.
so many
You should be
factors.
you
Yeah,
should more welcoming on somebody that wants to know your country, wants to know your culture, and without, obviously, if I'm not making, like, I'm not distracting your culture, but if I'm there to live and learn about your culture and you, why would you be so against, as long
yeah,
I live like into your rules? And but
yeah,
yeah, it's the fear, obviously, that of somebody that you don't know, and they might sound different from you, or they look
yeah.
different from you, and you're like, okay, I don't know what to do right now. Yeah, but anyway.
Probably gonna be
So,
able to hear the scooters. The
well, from
traffic.
from the street, nah, it's fine, it's
Yeah.
fine. But yeah, so in Germany you had a different experience than
Mm.
England, because obviously, yeah, you lived more. And did you find yourself that, like, especially at the beginning, which is the most interesting, because once you settle in, like, you're living your life, you get into the routine. But at the beginning, did you felt like, okay, this is a giant city to live in, and I like what to do, and how
Well,
did you first
I
impact?
I arrived in January.
Mm.
It was one of the coldest winters I remember. It was -16.
Oof.
I had snow up until my ankle, and I was like, "What am I doing here?" I was
Oh,
totally unprepared. I was like, it was just, and I was living in Neukölln, which is this area that back in the days, and I'm talking about like 8 years ago already. Now it's very lively. There's lots of restaurants and bars, and it's a really cool area as well. But back in 2014, when I arrived, there was nothing down there. There was
yeah.
nothing. I was living there, and I was like, and I couldn't understand anybody, as I never studied German. I couldn't understand anybody, and it was really cold, and I was living in small apartment, sharing like a room, like sharing a room with my boyfriend at the time, and an apartment was shared with other people. That then I end up finding out that had mice in it. So it's just like, you know, um, come to this place, don't understand anybody, living in a house with mice. It's cold as fuck, and you just like, what am I doing here? I was like, why did I decide to move here? I have no chance to I have no chance to get through. I have to first learn German because otherwise I'm never gonna find a job. And it was really intense, and I was hating it, and I wasn't sure why like my I was just wanted to leave Italy so much that any place could have been better than
Mm.
Italy. Then when I was here, I was like, I don't know if I made the right choice.
Yeah.
And then it took me a couple months. Um, and then took me a couple months, yeah, 3 to 4 months, and then I found finally this job, which was Soho House, that it was like the key to everything because it's like this big hotel chain and it's very international, and that really changed. Like I could finally have a job that
Yeah.
I could pay the rent, and I was insured, and like I went through all of these things, and I met people that I didn't have to speak German to, because like they were all coming from Australia, England, and whatever. So it was like
Mm.
it was a bubble. It was a little bubble in Berlin, but the first months were absolutely horrible. I have really bad memories of the first months in Berlin. It wasn't so. It was really hard. It was really
Yeah.
hard because I had no idea also of like all the bureaucracy and all these things. It's so frustrating, and you always have to ask for help, which is not a bad thing. um it was just,
But
yeah, it was.
is it not that the kind, like, the beauty of it, like, why we're doing it? Because
challenge.
Yeah, if it was okay, I moved and let's say like they know me, and I know it would be nice, obviously, to not move with minus 16 with mice in your house, but at the same time, it it changes so much, and you grow so quickly, and you have to grow, and you have to find your way, which is, I think that's the.
We gotta do something here.
Yeah, you need to literally like wake up, and yeah. I feel like that's the beauty of like live, of moving and change and do all these things. But at the same time, you need to be built for it. Like I know a lot of people, like a lot of people they had like, they're like popular in my hometown, and they tried to move to England where I was, because I knew them, they had money, and they came there, and they were like, oh, that's what you need to do to, like, oh, I need to wash dishes because if I want to pay my rent, like the first few months. I'm like, yeah, you need to do what you need to do. It's like, okay, bye. And they just left because they were not built for trying out. No, not everybody. And I don't know. It just, I found that the beautiful thing about, especially the first few months when you move and the chaos that you're in, that you don't, you literally like days pass by and you're like, oh shit, it's like few months already. And I literally like, it's almost a year I'm here.
Yeah.
And I almost a year already. I'm like, wait, what? We just got a house for sure. Like we just settled in. We just got a house. My girlfriend had she has a visa now, and it's all good. But a year like that, and But
the more you grow, the quicker it goes as well, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
The older you get, the quicker it goes.
But okay, I don't want to take too much of your time, Francesca. Thank you very much.
Nice to chat.
Nice chat, and that was great. Thank you very much. I'll see you soon. See you at work.
Ciao.
Love you, baby.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Grazie.